It means a lot. From what I understand, the super-centex Coach of the Year is a big deal. I'm appreciative that you guys would recognize me for such a prestigious award. It identifies kind of the hard work that we have done throughout the year, and in order to accomplish the feat that we accomplished, making it to regionals and being one game away from making it to state. So it means a big deal. The process, man, it was a strenuous process. I mean, when I came in, you never know what you're going to deal with whenever you go into a program. You kind of have, the things that you want to do that you have set aside to accomplish, but it's kind of a new world, and that's what I've always kind of said. I'm coming into this new world. I got to learn the lay of this land. And so you got to be flexible enough to kind of make changes where you have to make changes and do the necessary procedures in order to fit what the new world, if you will, or in this situation, the Connally way. And so being able to be flexible and make changes, and then learning the girls and learn what they're able to do and what they're not able to do, changing offenses, changing defensive schemes, being a new person on the ship and trying to set culture. I mean, we had to do all of that in order to get to this particular point. So it's been challenging, but it's been fun. One thing, I guess, is kind of like, for the lack of better analogies, it's kind of like a mother with a child. You have anywhere from 8 to 12 new people, and learning, their personalities, learning what you can get by with as far as how to talk to them, disciplinary measures if you need to institute any type of disciplinary measures. And all of that in itself is just challenging. And then just the skill sets. I had one way that I thought I was going to be able to come in here and utilize certain offensive schemes, and then learning that, oh, this is a little bit too challenging, if you will, for my girls. I got to kind of dumb it down, if you will, and change the offensive schemes in order to fit their talent and their athletic abilities and their basketball IQ. Well, I left college, and I was actually committed to, I left Loyola Marymount, women's basketball assistant, and I was actually on my way to BYU. I had actually already verbally committed. I just hadn't signed the paperwork yet, and I was in the process of going through the background check. And BYU has an extensive background check, which I didn't know at the time until I was, in the background check for like 2 weeks at the time. And then not only the coach, but the athletic director and the school president actually called me and started to explain that it wasn't me, that's the process that they go through with everybody. And so in the midst of that process, one of the coaches that I had a informal relationship with, formal, informal, DeSoto head coach, DeSoto girls basketball in Dallas, I had been recruiting a lot of her girls. I had 2 of them actually on their way out to Los Angeles at one point in time, and she actually called me. She called me a couple of times, and she persuaded me to come help her with her girls. The first time she called, I laughed at her because she had just won back-to-back state championships in Texas. She had just missed out on a national championship, and in my mind, I'm like, you don't need any help. Like, you're there. And so compressing that story, when we talked the last time, I asked her, I said, well, she told me that she had a lot of incoming freshmen and she didn't really know what to do with those freshmen. And I started asking her for names, and as she began to call out names, I looked on my recruiting board, and 4 of those names were already on my recruiting board that I had seen when they were in the 7th grade. I didn't know that I knew they were in Dallas Metroplex. I didn't know that they were DeSoto girls. Mm-hmm. So I ended up going down to help her develop those kids, and now they're sophomores, they're super sophomores. They're all 4 of those girls are ranked in the top 50 in the nation. So I went to help her. We made it back to state. I remember she was telling me, you'll be surprised, but we may not make it out of the area. I told her, I said, we're gonna make it back to state. She looked at me and laughed. She's like, okay, Mr. Positivity. So we ended up making it to state. And she told me if I decided to leave her, she didn't want me to leave. And she actually mentioned Connally. I had never heard about Connally until she mentioned it. So that's kind of the long route to get to your question. But if it's not for her, I never hear about Connally, and I'm not here. So she made the recommendation, and they started calling and asking her questions, and